may be working for them right now. I'm doing everything that I do with an intention. I do it with the fact that I'm trying to show people a different way of how they do it in everything that I do. You know what I mean? And so
Yes,
that's
sir.
one of the reasons why I still, even though my pay was cut, you know what I mean? And that's a whole nother situation in itself. Even though my pay was cut, I'm still doing what he giving me to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing what his assignment happens to be over my life, which is for me to use the gifts that he gave me to be able to interact with other people. Maybe some people will wake up. You know what I mean? Oh man, did I go out again?
You did not. I could hear you just fine. Can everybody else hear him?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
If Nakia is speaking, your mic is on mute.
Oh no, I ain't finished, man. I was just simply, just stating that's the reason why I do what I do, man.
Gotcha.
When I remind myself of what I'm doing right now, like I said, I'm still on the what I call the plantation, but guess what? I'm still doing the work that's given it to me to do. You know what I mean?
See, brother, I'll be
Yes, sir.
trying to be earlier because I believe Brother Shamika is going to be recording over there.
Gotcha.
All right, how's it sound, everybody? How y'all feeling out there? How's it? Everything is it sound good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
Yes, sir.
Good on my end as well. I do want to remind everybody that we are streaming live. It's from the Our Black Fathers Committee YouTube. So if you've already subscribed, please go there, share it on your Facebook, your whatever other social media that you could share it on. That would be great. Thank you, Brother Nick, for sharing that information and that reminder. And for those that did get an opportunity to catch it, can you give the scripture for us one more time?
Yes, sir. Let me get the scripture for you again. So the scripture says this. It says, this is Colossians 3:23. It says, work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. And so that's the scripture right there that I keep as I continue my work and continue my journey, you know what I'm saying, throughout the day when I'm struggling to, find why am I still doing this? Why am I here? You know what I mean? Like when I'm struggling to find what is my purpose for what I'm doing.
Yes, sir. So I know, as I mentioned, I know Smitty, you wanted to just go over something real quick. I think it'd be a good idea for us to go right there, and then we could jump into the topic that Crondo had, which I think is a great topic. But let's go over what me and you talked about recently with the Nurturing Fathers program, to be exact.
Okay, give me 1 second. 1 second, please. 1 second.
Oh, okay. He's not ready, y'all. He's not. So the brother that has the ASR initials, who is that exactly? Have you been on here with us before?
That's Almighty Asar from Strong Wood.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. I'm assuming that's Big True's invite.
He know about it, and he got the invite. I don't know if it was necessarily for me.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
There we go.
Yeah.
He ready now, y'all. He ready.
Oh yeah, man. I was burning midnight oil last night, and
Right.
I still getting used to my morning shift. Starting at 6 a.m., getting up at 2:30, and I was looking at the time. It's like, dang, it's 12:30. I gotta be up in a couple hours, and I was struggling all day. And I set my alarm to get off at, wake up at 5:30 and jump on here, take a shower, just to be fresh. You know what I'm saying, for the call. So I do apologize about that. However, like I was talking to Blau, just a couple of things that I'm doing to see if you want everyone else want to be a part of it as well. I'm definitely enjoying the calls. I know me and Blau have been talking, and also Brother Crondo, and just seeing what other things that we could present to the group. So I finished a father's program with Nurturing Fathers. I really feel like it's a great program to cover the basics. And, for what I'm trying to do, as far as just, healing, growing, empowering, and transcending, I think that it needs to be a complete circle. And what that does is just really, I posted about it before. Everyone says they were a good father, saying that they're a good father, they're trying to be a good father, but said, what things have you done to be a good father? You know what I'm saying? Like, have you invested into any type of learning on your own? You know what I'm saying? To learn about yourself. We all have past traumas that you've been going around with, and have you had time to get those out? Because some of those things could be the reason why you don't have a strong connection with your children. You know what I'm saying? Because you haven't had time to really look and examine self. So with the program is, I think it's about 13 weeks. I was talking to Brother Blau here to see if he wants to open this up to the fellas here that's been showing up, and see if they want to go through one half of the program. I believe it's like an hour and a half. I know the call has been going to an hour. So if people want to stay, they can definitely stay. You're definitely not obligated. All the information and the journals and the booklets are completely free. I just have to get everyone's name and address and email to submit, and then we can make sure to get you guys the booklets and the journals. And looking to probably start here in about the end of the month. So that's one of the things I spoke about here with Blau recently.
So, and I was thinking, if we can get a few brothers that are actually interested and willing to commit to that time, then we can keep it on Tuesdays like what we got going on here. But if not, maybe we should probably just do it something different. I'm interested in going through it because I've already talked to the brothers before. With the Man Cave organization, I actually even signed up to do that program. I just never followed through with it, just because me trying to build my own thing and so forth. But over this last week or so, I've been thinking that it'd be a good idea just to go through it, not only just to gain the knowledge and things that I don't already have in regards to fatherhood, but just to get a better understanding of exactly how other organizations are moving out here that have the same mission. So I'm for sure want to do it with you. We can see who else is interested. Again, that'll kind of play into what we got going on Tuesdays, but it might all fall in line as well. It's up to y'all.
Yeah, I'm with it.
And what's it called again?
Nurturing Fathers.
All right. Some of the
through Man Cave organization.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, some of that reminded me of the ACEs test.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff that I'm learning right now, it crosses over, it picks and chooses and stuff like that, but it's definitely, therapeutic. They go through breaking down, science, definitely we're all big on that one, science and brain science and stuff that, I didn't even know, saying just dealing with just your kids. It's like, boys listen more when you're standing on the left side than the right side. You know what I'm saying? Or girls, boys have more gray in their, it's like really goes deep. And then so, like I said, I was able to take those stuff away. I never really went that deep as far as knowing my children. Like, oh, I have boys, and so when I'm talking to them, is just that it says not to just be still. You know what I'm saying? Because their brain just goes through a wander. So like going for a walk, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, son, let's go for a walk and let's throw the ball around and coach that way and correct that way, opposed to just sitting there. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. And it goes through one ear and out the other. It's like, how come it ain't working? I talked to you, you say you got it. And it's like, okay, taking and moving the conversation and going somewhere else and like, go outside throwing the ball. You know what I'm saying? We've seen that in the movies. You know what I'm saying? The kids go throw the ball, then dad go back and forth, and they talking about problems. Like, why they do that? And with the material like this, it goes a little more in depth than what I thought I knew. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm a perfect parent. I could always be learning some more. And for me, I'm just like a master student. I don't want to ever seem like I can't learn nothing new, especially when it's for my family too. The better than.
Yeah, I just learned something right now. That was very intriguing what you mentioned as far as being active when you're being corrective with your children moving around. And I'm like, shit, I need to try that ASAP. So I just learned something just now. These the minute that you just spoke on that.
Yeah,
I'm interested.
Yeah, so when you finally look at it, you see a lot of times, like a lot of people do that, especially on football fields where they go to a player and they take him and start walking with him. So I always noticed that, but I never really he's just walking with him. But it's like they learn better when you actually have some type of movement going. And then when you're standing on like I think the left side of the ear, it's more in depth. Like I said, I don't want to butcher it, but it's just like, wow, I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? So that really humbled me.
Yeah, with my son, I mean, when you were speaking, that's why it hit me, because I'm like, with my son, he's more receptive when we're moving. Like if we're just walking around and I'm talking to him about something that he did wrong or something like that, he's more receptive. Whereas if I'm just standing over him, standing in one spot, and he's sitting down, he might try to lash out on me. So I can definitely understand, moving around, whether you're throwing a ball or going for a walk with him or just doing some type of activity. I can understand that.
Right, definitely. And then one thing I took away too is, do your kids know the do's, don'ts, and consequences? Oh, gee, we got an MC on the mic.
What's going on?
Damn, Cardo.
Mute your microphone, son.
The world is that.
You got the COVID? You got the COVID, bro?
Right.
That's the illest beatbox I heard in a minute.
I was like, oh snap! I want to sample that.
I was about to start spinning. Damn, he wasn't gonna stop. So I was like, all right, here we go. Oh, okay.
Nah, press the button, fuckers.
Right.
He's smoking on that out though over there.
Got him out though.
Right.
No, like out though.
I apologize, Smitty.
No, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I said, it has great stuff. And even challenges just your mindset too as well. As far as that, and like I said, this is not the end all be all. This has great information. It just goes over how to parent without having fear of violence and more as a nurturing father. So instead of blind to obedience, rebellion, revenge, disrespect, you have self-discipline, you have self-responsibility, you have correction, and you have respect. And they go back and forth between spanking and beating your kid and stuff like that, but just understanding healthy discipline before your child. You know what I'm saying? What does those conversations look like? How to start those conversations between your child. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with this, and I want to present it to you guys here. We all know each other. We all show up here, and this is one of the things that I want to start doing personally for myself, is to start having these open conversations with my community. You know what I'm saying? I believe that no one is actually really having, a full roundabout conversation about these things, about fathering, about relationships, and having some solutions. For me, it's like when I reached out to a lot of people and, they seemed, I was vulnerable and I was saying, hey, I need some help. And I need more than just a scripture at times. You know what I'm saying? I need more than just reading a book. I needed so I needed like a strategy. I needed a method, because as soon as I was talking to that person, I was walking right back into war. And I had no type of instructions on what to do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's just like this right here helped me create a better bond in my family because I didn't know I was yelling so much. You know, why am I yelling? Oh, because my dad yelled. Oh, because my mama yelled. Or because everyone growing up was yelling. And so I thought that was parenting, but that's not really effective parenting. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like now I have a more calm approach. I'm asking some more questions, you know what I'm saying? Instead of like, why did you do that? Like, help me understand why you did that. You know what I'm saying? Dang, son, what lets you making that decision or what lets you thinking that way? So I want to take up too much time with this one. I just want to put it out there and see if any fathers were open to doing the class and, you know, reach out to Brother Blau. Let him know. Just give him your information and we can definitely start having a class. And then also after this, if they're open, I believe we need to start incorporating, you know, for the ones that do have significant others into this too as well. So there is also a marriage and parenting part 2 as well. So we can start bringing our partners because, you know, how do we know that, you know, we're really being healed coming to this call? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
I believe your partner can answer that question for us too. You know what I'm saying? We thinking someone's good if they leave and they go talk to their partner and it's like, yeah, you still the same. And so I want to make sure that we're having these meaningful conversations. Like I said, it's going full circle. It's like they're healing, they're growing, and we're seeing that within their families too as well. And then maybe down the line, we have something for the kids. But I'm going to go ahead and set it down here.
Yeah, I'm with you, Smitty. I think that's a good idea. You know, I support them and everything you do. That's a great idea. I wanted to learn. I actually took a nurturing class when I had to go like get my court shit situated and all that type of shit. But it was dumb. You know what I mean? Like common sense type shit. So what you spoke on earlier kind of goes more like super in depth with it. So I like to see, you know, more about what they're talking about.
Same.
Most definitely, man.
Yeah, I'm interested as well.
Sure as we don't got the actual day of the week that we're gonna do it also. But I'm definitely down. I think we should build around that a little bit more. I'm also gonna reach out to some new fathers that I know and see if they could come to it as well. I think it'd be dope to have
for sure
experience mixed with some new fathers or some fathers who may just haven't got started yet, but even on the way to fatherhood, maybe, you know what I mean? So I'll reach out to some younger brothers also and see if we can get them involved. Yeah, for sure. I'm down.
And one thing that dropped the bomb on me, is this like, since we're such strong protectors and providers, one thing in the chapter it says, well, how do you meet your own needs? How do you meet your own needs physically, socially, emotionally, intellectually, creatively, and spiritually?
Yeah.
And I was like, I was just stuck. It's like, man, I work so hard getting up every day. I really don't have a time for myself. You know what I'm saying? Meet my own needs. So I let y'all leave with that one. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, how do you meet your own needs? You know what I'm saying? All past categories and aspects. But go ahead.
Well, no, what I was going to say, man, is I think that it promotes a community conversation. And I think it's time. We're well overdue for a community conversation for us to really have these conversations, not only as men, but like, as you mentioned, right, eventually let's bring in the spouse. I see the evidence. The spouse is really going to be the card that says, hey, okay, is this particular living, breathing man the one, you know, making the changes, making the necessary changes that really are conducive of what we want to see, the positivity that we want to see. So I love it. It's a positive change, man. It's a positive experience. So that's you know, that's what I'm looking forward to, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Crondo, what was that topic you wanted to touch on? Give everybody an opportunity to speak tonight as well.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, you know, I see a lot of stuff online. And some of it'd be like good conversation topics, you know what I'm saying? Especially regarding like Black fatherhood and fatherhood in general and dealing with the moms and things like that. Last week we had a good one. I forgot. I think it was, what was it, man?
With the parent, with the father being absent.
Yeah,
Would you rather be there?
Yeah, totally absent or you know, part-time or whatever the thing was, you know, here and there. So I seen another one, man, and you know, I see these a lot, man, and sometimes I decide to partake in the conversation, and sometimes I don't. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on my mood or whatever. But it basically saying, like, you know, it says a mother can definitely teach her son how to be a man, comma, I don't know what world y'all living in. Mind you, the sister that posted the shit said she cannot. You know, she said a woman can raise what she ideally believes a man is, but cannot teach someone something that they never been or experienced. And she said, I will not argue my point of view. So to me, it sounds like she got some common sense. I just wanted to pick y'all brains about that shit, man, and you know, see what y'all thought about that.
Yes. Ooh, it's a long conversation, man. I'll just say that I had relations with a sister and her son, Bilal, Caden. Her son became like real good friends with my son. And when things didn't work out, she kept making sure that he came around for me to mentor him and for him and my son to, keep that camaraderie. I took them to the Sons program together and everything. And what I really appreciated about her was that she understood that her son needed that. Whereas in like the mind state of a lot of some sisters, because it's speculatory, like what's a lot or whatever. But they come with like that post that you were talking about, Crondon. But I think we see the results of the father not being in the household. We all see that. You know what I'm saying? We always take it back to Boys in the Hood when Furious Styles is telling Trey, you see them kids across the street, you're gonna see what's gonna happen to them when they get older. You know what I'm saying? I saw a lot of it happen to my homeboys when I was young. I was just talking with my man DeMar here at Grassroots today, and I was telling him about how I envy like a lot of the cats in the hip hop world because they all came up together. All my homeboys is dead or in prison. Every single one of them. None of them had a father in the house. Now it's not a coincidence, but I'm just gonna leave it out there. I don't know if I'm really like speaking to what the question is, Crondon, but
Crondon is a rapper in San Diego. Crondo.
Man, that's
I'll call you Brother False. Brother False.
Brother False.
Yo, there's a cat who got locks and is light skinned and cats see him around. They call him False Mother Satan because they say it's my doppelganger. But my bad, Crondo. But yeah,
with you, bro. But now, you did answer it. You basically saying like if they don't, if they don't have that father figure or a father, or teaching the woman raising them, that they might end up, on the shit end of the stick in life. That's what I got from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of jewels that could be missed when that father is not around. I was raised by my mom. I think she did a great job, but just me being a male now, I know that there were some things that were missed, some very important things as well. And not like she didn't do her best, but she didn't know at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Some men don't even know some of the jewels that are necessary to teach their young men. So
right.
Definitely can't expect women to, because it's not easy. So I would say, and not to discredit any woman that's done it or that's doing it right now, please continue to do your best at that job, but just know that at some point in time, that young man is going to need
uncle, grandfather,
his life for sure. If it's not his own father, he's going to need a positive male figure. That's why because you can be you don't have to just. I think it's like a quote is saying like a good father is a father to everyone. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You don't necessarily. It doesn't have to necessarily be your child or your actual father, but if you can get some positive jewels from a male figure at that age where it's very necessary, it's going to be beneficial to the young man, even if he don't use it right away. You feel me? It might take him 10 years for it to set in. But once he get to manhood, he gonna be like, man, I
Yep.
did jewels, and now let me use them. You feel me?
But like, what helped you out, man, being raised by your mother? What, like, did you have like mentors, or where did you find that father figure aspect?
Man, say I became that person. You feel me? I became that person until I connected with my father real tight, like in my 20s. Cause before that, I just knew what I needed, so I implemented that. You know, so I'm big brother in my family structure. So there was always times for me, repetitions for me to actually use it. So I'm playing big brother father all the time anyway. So I just kind of like became that man. But it's weird because it's like when I became a father, I had to relearn a lot of that stuff. You feel me? Like I burnt myself out from teenager to right as I became a father. And then when I became a father, it was like I still had, like I said, I still had to relearn all of those jewels that I had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing I told one of my partners I used to do True School Radio with was that cause I used to tell him he reminded me of myself
All
when I
right,
was
team,
his
that is
age.
officially time. Let's clear the statuses
shit.
real quick. So, Dylan, come off of mute for me, and let me have you to clear the statuses of everyone. There's a little eraser that's right
Hey,
below.
use the mute button, brother.
We got the chain tonight. We got the beatbox, and we got the.
No, but I was raised by my
basically,
mom too.
Yeah.
But I had a stepdad, but he was a smoker. He was a good brother though, but he didn't teach me a lot. But that was only for like 7 or 8 years. Probably even lesser than that. But I personally think she can teach you some stuff as far as like right or wrong. But as far as man shit, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't necessarily believe that, like, even just as far as like discipline or like discipline, some you can't be, you know what I mean? You can't be out there like that, man. Like I never had nobody to tell me that. So I had a lot of shit I had to learn through trial and error. You know what I'm saying? Even as far as just like I knew I was taught like how to protect myself by my mom and my stepdad, but like there was a lot of jewels that I feel that like I missed. And I never really had someone to like look to as far as be like, yo, when I grow up, it was the wrong influences, you know what I'm saying? But like when I get older, I want to kind of be like such and such, or like my dad, or some positive male figure. I personally didn't have that, and a lot of like what Bilal said, I had to learn like shit on my own. Which is sometimes, a lot of the times that's a good teacher. Experience is a good teacher. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the best, because a lot of shit I like to learn through somebody else, man. And I ain't got to get my ass kicked all the time to learn some, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's just my personal preference.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
I think Brother Tremikas has his hand up. Blah, 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 blah.
Peace, brothers. Just to chime in really, really quickly, I definitely believe that it's absolutely possible that a woman can raise a man. I think of Minister Farrakhan, who was raised by his mother, right? But I also recognize that at a certain point, it does take male figures, men, to come into your life to teach you the rest of the way. And that's one of the things I think that's critically lost. I think the question comes up because we have such an absence of strong male figures in the household. But I mean, for example, this group, our Black Fathers Committee, right? It's the demonstration that at a certain point, we as men have a responsibility to become fathers, not just of our children, but all of the children that are around us. We have a responsibility to become their mentors, their teachers, their uncles, their big brothers. So again, just to say it really quickly, yes, it's possible, but at a certain point, there are certain things that only a man can teach a man or can demonstrate to a man or what needs to be done. And I'll say this. My mother said this to me, and I find it to be absolutely true. She said that children learn by the example of their fathers, not necessarily the words of their father.
Indeed.
It's his way that demonstrates to them how to be men and how to live and thrive and survive in this world. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll speak on it, man. My bad, brothers. Earlier, I accidentally unmuted, but man, I'll speak on it really quick too. And I think the brother's absolutely right.
What was you going in like that for?
He was directing traffic, wasn't he?
That's how you got to do, man. When you work from a virtual environment, you got to be able to direct traffic, man. Make all the pieces come together where they should be. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
But the brother's absolutely spot on that. You know, women can definitely do it because I think that we have to realize that the preciousness of coming from a woman, right? We know the pain that our mothers went through just to bring us into this world. So without a doubt, they could do it. But as the brother mentioned, there's a certain point. There's many studies that have been done. There's a study right now that was done in the U.S. and New Zealand that said that, that there was strong connective results to of absent fathers for, those that are starting their sexual activity a little bit early. There was another study that was done, about just some of the social impacts to not having both to balance out. In a home, in a household, right? You're supposed to have both of those balances. The wife, for me, for example, in my household, my wife balances out a lot of what, where I'm weak at, she's strong in those areas and vice versa. We work well together. And having that two-parent household has really shaped a lot of what takes place with my children now. But for example, when I grew up, my father was there every, maybe 3 or 4 months. I would see him, sometimes it'd be, a little bit less than that before I would see him. But I always had some type of father figure there to help me to understand. My grandfathers took over that role. He was a farmer, he was a mechanic, he was a carpenter, he was all these different things. And one of the values that he made sure to instill in us was the importance and significance of being truthful, being honest as males. And so that was all of the grandkids used to come to my grandfather for that guidance. So we had a figure to show us what an example of what we should imitate should be. Just like my daughter, right? It'd be difficult for me as a father. I could do it for me to raise my daughter without her mother. She needs an example, and she needs to see me be an example as well of how to treat her. And so all of that speaks to the fact that it's important, it's very vital that males have a strong male figure in their life.
Thank you. I agree. Anybody else? I think we all kind of somewhat on the same page, but it's interesting to hear everybody's approach to that topic.
I'll just add on to Brother Tamika's point. I like the point he made about I think the incorrect assumption that a lot of people make is that individuals are solely raised by their parents, and that's not true. Of course, they have the majority. Yeah, they have the majority stake in that. But even if you have relatively 2 stable parents in a household, you're still going to outsource like certain elements of like certain qualities, that your particular parents may not be well off in that particular arena. So to simply state that, can a man raise a daughter or can a woman? I think that's it's an oversimplification of like the actual dynamics that go into parenting.
Indeed.
So of course they provide the baseline, the foundation, right, to provide the best, I guess like the best chance of like a homeostasis or like equilibrium, right? Because there's balance, right, that comes into play. But again, especially like our generation in particular, where we're kind of like on the edge of like the old world and the new world, right? Versus like Like the generation after us, they just like all they know is technology, but the generation before us, they was all, you know, blue collar for the most part, right? And this technology thing is like kicking them in the ass to this day. Like they getting it, but you know, they a little further removed from it. So that generation before us, for example, they were, you know, just hard workers for the most part, getting it out the mud. And I think there was somewhat of a disconnect between our generation and a lot of those individuals. And what did we do? We looked to hip hop, we looked to sports, we looked to, you know, the D-boys on the block, whoever, right, to provide like the supplemental inspiration or whatever it was that we was kind of seeking. I think children have a way of innately like kind of like filling voids, right? Like for instance, they could be looking for leadership, right? They don't necessarily understand like maybe the difference between a particular leadership that's conducive to like success and peace versus like dysfunction and fast money and death, right? But it's still leadership, right? They see someone blazing a trail and they gravitate towards that, right? So I think that's like an example of, even if you have like the pieces in place in your particular household, you know, it's pretty common for people to look outside for like additional, gas, right, to get to where they feel like they need to go. So the original question, I think it's an oversimplification, and it's really circumstantial. I mean, there's so many different factors that can contribute towards, and you know, we all know the women, they do an amazing job considering the circumstances, but you know, as it's already been said multiple times, it at some point it takes a man to show what it actually is to be a man, and there is a difference between like a man and an adult male, right? So manhood is like a state of like being, like it's a mind state, right? And any adult male doesn't necessarily measure up to that, right? So it's like, you know, at some point a woman just can't emulate what it takes to become a man and to know like the actual terrain that a man would have to, you know, trek to like be successful or to attain certain things, because the world responds different to a woman. You know what I mean? Regardless of how tough she is or, you know, how ambitious, it's just a little different. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree with that point. It does take a man, and at some point, that young boy is going to find that inspiration in another man or a peer, an older peer, an uncle, somebody that he's seeing on the block. It could be, you know, somebody on TV, somebody he's going to look to and start to pick up certain things. So I think that's at play for all of us.
Very important. Good point. Thank you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Can I make a request?
What up?
I would like to hear if he's available, Mr. Gary King. He's always dropping gems. I like to see if I can hear something from him.
Yeah.
Sir. Yes, sir. How y'all doing?
Speak, brother.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I agree with everything everybody's saying. I'm gonna add this little piece to it too. I think that I think it's important, you know, people understand that manhood also is about, you know, respecting the higher power. You know what I mean? Respecting your environment, knowing how to fight. If you don't know how to fight, go figure it out. Go do a class. Go learn boxing. Like safety is big for women, right? So we have to be able to defend ourselves and our families. You know, if you take care of your health, get in the gym, you know, lift weights. And weights is not about looking good. It's about being able to get comfortable with resistance. And then when you get comfortable with resistance in the weight room, then it helps you navigate life easier. It helps you.
Man, that's real shit.
You know what I mean? Like it helps you deal with bring the groceries in the house, help somebody move, whatever, right? And then not only that, I think the biggest thing too is that emotional piece. You know, when you're going through it, knowing how to ground yourself, you know what I mean? Without lashing out or without emotionally dumping on people. Just basically come in the house, go in the bathroom, close the door, sit on the toilet, and close your eyes and breathe or pray or something. But you gotta learn how to ground yourself, because the woman's gonna expect you to be able to, and the children gonna be able to, like, why is dad acting crazy, or why is this dude acting crazy? You gotta be able to woosah yourself. You know what I mean? So I think that's a lot of things that you won't get. The mothers can teach it somewhat, but you got to get that from another man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Through example or through words, you're gonna definitely get it through another man by default, for sure. Who else we got? Anybody else?
Hey, brothers, can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
who that?
Okay, I'm driving. You know, one of the things that came to mind for me is at a certain point, a boy rebels. I experienced that myself when I turned somewhere around 12 years old. So between 12 and 14 years old, it absolutely has to be strong male strength in most boys' life, because they'll rebel. And I remember the last time I got a whooping, I was 12 years old. And I remember my mother hitting me with, whooping me. I ain't gonna put my mom out there like that, but she was whooping me. And I didn't feel anything, right? It was like nothing, right? So at that point, I think she understood, like I understood, that physical punishment wasn't going to move me. And it almost, in some senses, drive the woman into abuse. That's when you start hearing about she took a broom and beat me, a mop and beat me, right? Because physically, he's grown to a certain point. So my point that I'm making here is that in that time of rebellion, it's really this young man trying to find himself and trying to establish his manhood. So at that critical junction, it's important that there is a male figure in his life that's able to guide him and direct him wisely. And I would even further say, most of my peers were in the same place. And this is when we start getting into the street life and, getting misguided because we didn't have, the right guidance. So I'm just saying that I just wanted to add that to this conversation, that it's important to understand at what stage of development a young man is, particularly for single mothers, so that you will know when you see these things coming out of your son, it's not for you to, throw him away or abandon him. That may be the time where you need to seek out strong men, mentorship groups, organizations that's filled with strong men to start guiding that young boy, or even seeking it out before that time, so that the guidance will already be there when he reaches that point in his life. So that came to mind. I just wanted to add that.
No, I agree. I experienced that too. It was about 13. I was getting a whooping, and it wasn't. I was already fighting 2 times a day back then. I was like, okay, what are we doing here? And you know what I'm saying? And she was like, oh, you ain't gonna cry. And if I would have had a male figure, it definitely would have helped. So yeah, I went through that as well, Tramikas. But I want everybody to chime in before I ask the next question, though. Scott, or what was that?
Brother Asar as well, and then I think that's on there.
Yeah, Brother Asar and Brother Scott. Can a woman raise a son?
Can a woman raise a son?
Yeah, can your mama raise her son without no male figure around?
Or my mama did.
Okay.
Not every woman is built to do that, though. Let me ask a question to the group. Does anybody have more than one child's mother?
No.
Yes.
No.
I do.
No.
Yeah,
No.
I do.
Okay. I'll tell y'all a little about my experience. So I had two children born in the same year within a 9-month span, 2 different women, of course. One of them I had beef with for a long time, like for the majority of my second child's I say 6, 7 years, and she's going on 9. She'll be 9 on the 27th. The things that I did, that I put the position that I put myself in, I'll take accountability as well. It was very toxic for my children. And me at 20, 21, I had no guidance. I had a stepdad, but I didn't look to him for that guidance like a male role model would, because I knew my dad, and my dad was out the picture. So I felt like it was just me and my brother, my older brother. With that being said, the things that me and my child's mother had to go through to get to the point that we are at, I had to check my damn self. I had to check my mental. I had to check my temper, my attitude, the way my tone, the way I talk, the way I communicate. And that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot for a 20, a young Black male with no guidance. You have a mother who supports you, but the psyche behind it all is very, 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 very difficult to handle for the average person with no guidance. Me, I'm grateful for the game, for the information that I've been given from everybody that I've been around. Bilal was a very good influence on me early on during that time, because I met him around that same time me and my baby mama was beefing. And the Black Fathers Committee really showed me something that I don't know where I would get it from, to be honest with you. So I salute my peers, my brothers, everybody in this chat. It's a lot. It's a lot to get a grasp of as a young man raising multiple children.
Yeah, I bet.
But can a woman raise a man? Yes, they can, but they can't show him how to be a man. My mom didn't show me how to be a man. I learned that from dealing with other men, like-minded men.
All right.
Thank you for sharing.
Matt, that's very powerful too, brother, because it just speaks to something that I know to be fact, because like I mentioned, I have my oldest son is by a different woman than my current wife, right? And so my son, he lives here with us now, man. And it speaks to the circle, the sphere of influence that you had. Like you mentioned, the brothers, and and the knowledge and the gems that they drop, man. That's when I first met them, that was exactly what we were on. You know what I'm saying? I remember meeting Brother Bilal, same thing, man. Knowledge and just dropping. It was something about the energy, man. It helped the vibration. So, man, I appreciate all you brothers, man, for just being there, man, and listening and helping dropping gems like you're doing right
now. I want to give Brother Asar on before we get up out of here for sure. Peace and blessings.
I appreciate y'all fellas. Peace. Do I believe a woman has the ability to raise a young man child alone? I think really the question is, what does she have the ability to raise a man child into alone, right? Because we see a lot of single parent households, and we do see a lot of fathers not involved with their children for whatever reasons. But my perspective is that if a woman has a child, but she's intent on being a good mother, that means that she would already plan on finding male influences for her son, right? The same way if I'm a man and I'm raising a girl, I'll be wanting to find positive female influences for my daughter, right? So I don't think it's really a matter of whether or not a woman can do it. It's the mindset of the woman that would be doing it that would make her either a good mother or not. You dig what I'm saying? But I think that unfortunately, a lot of women don't recognize that when raising a man child, that especially if the father is absent, that young boy is probably going to have you primarily to mirror, or mimic, right? They're going to have whatever the mother is into, whatever she likes, whatever she consumes that she desires to have in her life is then going to be passed off into that young male child if there is no male role model or male influence in that young man's life. As a brother who had a father in his, this is probably something that echoes an entire conversation. As a brother who had a father, the stability and confidence that I have in myself as a man was like head and shoulders above my brothers. And I can tell you, like, when I was in high school, all the young men I was around, it was probably only one other brother out of my group of like 12 friends that had another male as a father in his life, like a real father, not a man that her mother is dealing with, but an actual father. And it's just how they're able to observe themselves and view themselves, the confidence with which we can go throughout our lives because we already see it modeled before us, as opposed to other brothers that are trying to figure it out, you know what I mean, and create a narrative as a young man in order to make themselves feel better about the fact that they don't have that male influence in their life. So again, not trying to speak too much out of turn. I know y'all brothers, all you have children. I feel blessed to even be in this place because I don't, but I appreciate the opportunity to listen and glean all these things, because once I get into that place, I want to be able to, that's like the biggest goal of my life, to be a good father, because I had a good father and I know what it did for me. As well as Brother True said earlier, man, there's so many other young brothers out here who don't have that stable household. I have the ability to pour into, you know what I mean? Even being from that space. So I don't take the role lightly. So that's all I got to know.
Yeah, peace. That's love, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to add this real quick.
We may have to pick that up next week. I was going to say, can a father raise a daughter?
Yeah, I know. I do want to go into that, considering that there's a lot of girl dads on this call too. So.
Indeed. And brother True has something to add real quick.
What I wanted to add was, Brother Asar, we need more brothers like you having children.
Indeed, man.
You know what I'm saying? I know you'll be a great father. You know what I'm saying? That's real.
The mentality, like you said,
the
intention. That's been my word for like the last week. The intention.
Intentionality, yeah.
You see there?
Yep.
I think. Oh, there you go. I think as far as your follow-up question, Crondo, I think the brother just really nailed it in his response in terms of seeking those examples in women. And I think men, for the most part, I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but I don't think we have as much resistance in doing that. Because when you got a little girl, it's just certain things you like, I don't know what to do with this, right? And you go seeking help, you know what I'm saying? I know that's always been easy for me. Now, I've been fortunate enough to be with the woman that I have my children with. But even in those short instances where, for instance, when my daughter needs her hair done and my wife is not available, it's like, that's a real struggle, bro. Like I need some helping hands wherever I can get them. You know what I mean? So that I think most brothers would find that effort like not as they're not as like reluctant to do that, to seek that kind of help. And I think in some instances, it just seems that some of the young ladies, whether it be pride or like past trauma, bad experiences, they're not, and I get it, like it's hard, like it's some weird guys out here. So you wouldn't necessarily want to reach out to any brother to mentor or like set an example for your son. So maybe it's a tougher task because the security element is so much more of a pressing issue for them. Whereas if I'm just corresponding with a young lady for assistance with my daughter, not that security element is non-existent, it's just I'm more equipped to deal with anything that may arise, you know, in terms of like the safety of my child, right? So I think the answer is the same. You know what I mean? It just depends on that individual and how they resource themselves or their environment to provide that supplementation for whatever parenting that assistance that they would need.
Yeah, I agree. For sure. Well, shit, we're gonna respect everybody's time, man. Great conversation tonight, man. Smitty, I'll just text you my email. You said
Yeah.
email and what?
Yeah, name, email, and address. I mean, if you want to
Name,
do this,
email.
do it. Is everyone good to go with wanting to do the program? I mean, I don't know if you guys have everyone's number. I just did a head count for everybody. This is like it's Nakia, Kylon, Javion, Quando, and Blau. So far, that's on here. I got no chance to follow everyone else.
Yeah, I think that's it for
Yeah,
now.
count me in.
Who's that?
Okay.
It's
Okay.
Nakia. Yeah,
Okay,
count me
cool.
in.
Yeah, I got you, brother. So yeah, I mean, like I say, we want to try to keep them as small as possible. To, saying keep the interaction because people obviously don't want to cut anyone's time short during these group sessions and stuff like that. So I don't know if you want me to send everyone's contact information, Brother Blau. I think for the most part you kind of do. I guess maybe send an email.
I think everybody that was interested is also already in the group chat that we have as well. So there we're gathering information, and then I think once we get it, everybody can even reach out to a couple more people. Then we can figure out if we're gonna do it on Tuesday or not.
Okay, all right, I'll be sure to follow up with y'all, and I'll let y'all know. Hey, everyone, have a wonderful. Oh, I'm gonna keep going.
Oh no, that was peace. That was peace, brother. That was peace.
Oh,
Appreciate
okay. Oh, there's someone who's the iPhone. I didn't know who that person was.
I would think that was DeLon, but I think he probably was just busy, just making sure he chimed in.
Okay, all right, respect.
Left too.
And I would definitely be reaching out to everybody.
Peace.
Hey, Brother Nakia, I'm gonna reach out to you too, man. I gotta talk to you about something, Brother Nakia.
it. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it.
All right, peace, y'all.
Peace.